Now that the error is gone, try logging in. Wait, but our user table is empty. So we can see the bad password message, but we can't actually log in yet. But we're pros, so it's no problem. Let's copy the Load Events Fixtures class into the user bundle. Rename it to Load Users and update the namespaces. Saving users is almost easy. Just create the object, give it a username, and then persist and flush it. The tricky part is that darn password field, which needs to be encoded with bcrypt. But what's cool is that Symfony gives us an object that can do all that encoding for us. To get it, first make the fixture implement the container-aware interface. This requires one new method, setContainer. In it, we'll store the container variable onto a new container property. Because we implement this interface, Symfony calls this method and passes us the container object before calling load. Remember that the container is the array-like object that holds all the useful objects in the system. We can see a list of those objects by running the container debug console task. Let's create a helper function called encodePassword to, encode the password. This step may look strange, but stay with me. First, we ask Symfony for a special encoder object that knows how to encrypt our passwords. Remember the bcrypt config we put in security.yaml? Yep, this object will use that. After we grab the encoder, we just call encodePassword, grab a sandwich, and let it do all the work. Behind the scenes, it takes the plain text password, generates a random salt, then encrypts the whole thing using bcrypt. Okay, so let's set this onto the password property. Try it. Reload the fixtures from the command line. Let's use the query console task to see what the user looks like. Nice! We can see the encoded password, which for bcrypt also includes the randomly generated salt. You do need to store the salt for each user, but with bcrypt, it happens automatically. Symfony requires us to have a getSalt function on our user, but it's totally not needed with bcrypt. Back at the browser, we can log in. Behind the scenes, here's basically what's happening. 1. A user entity is loaded from the database for the given username. 2. The plain text password we entered is encoded with bcrypt. And 3. The encoded version of the submitted password is compared with the saved password field. If they match, then you now have access to roam about this fully armed and operational battle station.